You've negotiated a lot of contracts. Let me ask you a question. Why don't both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, just go in a room and for however long it takes and hammer out a deal? Why is there so much public posturing? Because doesn't that make it difficult? Because then they have to go defend what they said the previous day or at the previous speech. Why can't they just get together and speak quietly? I mean, isn't this how most tough union negotiations go when they're trying to hammer out a collective bargaining agreement?
Couldn't have said this better myself. We've been talking
What's
about it.
the
You're
answer?
absolutely right. The negotiation that we're watching, if you want to call it a negotiation, is absurd. It's absolutely absurd, and I am blaming everybody in this equation. This is not a Republican or a Democratic thing. If you really want to make a deal, you lock up the door, you go in that room, and you don't come out until you've got a deal. Now, yeah, you can, show up once a week and issue a paragraph. It's going well. We wish it was going better. You never get, and as we've talked about, look at how this happens when union and management gets together. Say what you want about the unions, say what you want about management. They lock the door, and they do this in private, and they may have something to say about it. And yeah, each side will give you a paragraph coming from their point of view. They don't get into the specifics. They don't come out and say, yes, we've offered 2 cents more an hour on the contract and they want 4.
So given that, given how they've been negotiating in public
terrible.
and speaking and where we are today and how close we are to the fiscal cliff, how do you see this playing out?
I'm worried about it now. I really am. And I was less worried about it 2 weeks ago. I really thought, I'm kind of an eternal optimist, I suppose, on these things. I can't believe that these politicians on either side would let this happen to us. I don't think it's good for us. Hearing the way they've been behaving, and I'm going to blame Speaker Boehner for holding a press conference and doing what he did yesterday, and I'm going to blame President Obama for going to Philadelphia and holding a pep rally on this. This is not how you seriously negotiate a deal.
I think the way this is going to play out is they're going to have to do something temporary. They're going to follow, I think, the Greek model. The Greeks are working something out where they're lowering their interest payments on their debt. They're extending maturities.
Right.
They're pretending that the debt isn't worth just pennies on the dollar. The old proverbial kick the can down the road to get through it. I think both sides are going to do that, and I think a lot of it is because neither side wants to appear that they're giving in. And while one side won't raise top rates and the other side is talking about they're not going to cut spending, I think what they're both going to do is actually hurt the growth of the economy. And ironically, it is the growth rate in the economy that is going to key to solving the problem.
I actually agree with you. If that's what they do, this is not good for anybody. I truly hope that they don't. Listen, I do think you can reach some agreement that could be done before the end of this year, particularly regarding the tax rates, because the Bush tax cuts are going to expire. And I do think you can set things up that would lead towards more tax reform, which is important. And I don't think they'll get to everything under the best of circumstances this year. But if they do what you're suggesting, and I agree that they could, this is going to be a very big problem, and I hope that they understand that. This is not going to be good for anybody's. And it's not going to be good for Democrats, it's not going to be good for Republicans, and not that any of them care. It's not going to be good for you and I. It's not going to be good for us.